Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Maverick Mindset Radio Show. I'm Adam Williams.
And I'm Ashley Muckenhop.
And this is the radio show for the dreamers and doers. It's for those who are willing to step into the arena.
Some call us the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers.
We don't accept the status quo. We leave the world better than we find it.
We approach each day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. We maintain a rational optimism about the future.
This is the Maverick Mindset Radio Show, brought to you by me, Adam Williams. Each day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
Unknown.
I just want you to know I'm living that today.
Are you?
Yeah. Are you ready?
I don't know.
You're not. You're not. Get ready.
What happened?
You know what it is? Jackie and I are in the midst of like a really intense 2-week sprint in the business.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, I am dominating. I am absolutely killing it. Every day I'm walking in with my power list. I'm finishing it by the end of the day, and I can shut it down as much as I'm capable of shutting it down, and like go and coach the soccer team, or spend time with the kids, or we went to a concert last night. Like, I am absolutely killing it. And
nice.
And this sprint ends Thursday because we're going out of town Friday morning, and it's like having that light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Really, like, it's really, I don't know if motivating is the word, but it's giving me an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. Let's get into this.
Let's do it.
What are we talking about today?
Movies and shows.
Okay.
So where we work, we use movies and shows as lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to talk about why that's important for entrepreneurs, business owners, why you should incorporate that into...
This is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I know you are.
But before we
you
get
have
into
some
it,
enthusiasm.
unknown to mankind. All right. So as always, you can find us streaming live on Facebook, blowing your minds every Wednesday at 9, going live at 9:05. Although I learned today we go live at 9:04:30.
I was trying to think of something that rhymed with that.
Yeah, like that. I got nothing.
I don't either. I have things, but I don't think they're...
You know what's funny? Yeah, we go live at 9:04:30, and today I'm wearing a shirty. All right, Maverick Mindset Radio, streaming live every Wednesday. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. MaverickMindsetRadio.com. I got to reorganize that page a little bit, but if you go to the homepage, we got the merch, we got the stickers, we got the notebooks, which we use every single week for our notes.
Yeah.
We got the coffee mugs, which I need to order another one. I actually created a new product last night that I'm not ready to announce yet.
Do it. I feel like I know what it is.
Well, don't spoil it.
I'm not going
And I bet you don't know.
Maybe I do. I feel like you said it.
Yeah, we're going to...
I think you said it.
We're going to start selling horses, branded, with our logo. That's weird. All right. I've had a lot. You know what else I found recently?
The alpaca?
Yeah, oh my... Yeah, there's an alpaca... I don't even know what the store is at the mall. It was at the mall.
Really?
And it's a store full of, I don't know, just a whole bunch of just random stuff. And there's this, like, life-size... I don't know if it's a llama or an alpaca. No offense to the llama and alpaca enthusiasts out there. And it's this giant, fluffy, adorable thing, but it's got this sign on it that says, "Don't hug me." I almost stole the sign. Because, like, bro, I feel that. Yeah. How did we even get on that tangent?
I don't know.
The new thing I found. Iced coffee protein powder.
Oh, don't know.
No, like vanilla
know.
Latte, couple grams of protein in it. Good stuff. All right. We're going to blow up.
Wait, did you mix this, or this is something that's...
Yeah, you buy the powder and you mix water with it.
Okay, so it's the protein powder, but coffee flavored.
Yes, so it's got caffeine.
Got it.
And protein, and it's delicious.
Okay.
And it's a game changer, as you can see by my enthusiasm today.
Yeah.
All right. Let me ask you...
Oh, shoot!
Oh no, what did you do?
I didn't pick a quote.
We don't need a quote.
Okay.
We're gonna do something different.
Because we're doing movies.
Yeah, but I'm gonna do something different.
Okay, great.
Can I blow up the entire show right now, 9 minutes in, or 4.5 minutes in?
I don't know how that's any different than any other show.
Right. What are you grateful for today?
Oh, what am I grateful for today?
Because this is one of those, I'm gonna buy you some time. This is going back and listening to our episodes. We're working on, this is gonna be a fun story, but we're working on getting some of these things edited down into shorter videos and putting more content out on social media. So I've been thinking about like some of the themes that come up on this show, and gratitude is one of those themes.
Mm-hmm.
Like we mention it pretty frequently, like of actually expressing gratitude.
Yeah.
So there you go. I've bought you enough time. What are you grateful for?
So I think people always you try and choose a specific thing that you're grateful for. I'm just grateful for the day. I'm grateful for that I have the day, that I woke up and I have another day to do things.
Okay, that's a little soft, but I'll accept
It's not soft.
My since you asked, what I'm grateful for is we went to this concert last night and with the family. So me, Jackie, and the kids. And it's a band called the Clarks,
Yep.
which if you're not from Western Pennsylvania, you may not know them, but they've had some hits.
Yep.
Like there's a I don't even remember. They had a song that was in a movie like in our high school years that was pretty popular. And we went to this concert. I've seen them live, I don't know, 10 times plus. Like Jackie and I used to go in college. They've been around. I looked it up this morning. They've been around since 1986. They have some really great songs, and it's one of those bands that like, even though I haven't listened to them in a little while because I've been preparing for the Foo Fighters concert, I still know like every word to their songs. Yeah. And so we went to this concert last night, and it was so much fun. And it's this beautiful venue in Erie, right on the water. Like it's an amphitheater that's like on the hill.
And it was a great night.
Oh, the weather! It was supposed to rain, and then the weather changed, and they actually joked. I mean, I've seen them play in Erie probably 5 times, and so they've played a lot more than that. And they said this is the best weather we've ever had in Erie. But it was so much fun because we're in the middle of this sprint where we're just working our tails off right now, and this is going to relate to today's show. So we know all these songs, we listen to them. It's great. Like it's sort of I looked it up this morning. They're categorized as like country garage rock, which is a really interesting.
Okay.
It's kind of fitting,
like
right?
Yeah.
And our kids were so embarrassed, right? Which makes it even better. They're sitting on the chairs, 50 feet up on the hill, and Jackie and I are down on the dance floor, like right in front of the stage, just tearing it up. But also we're both on 75 hard, so we're drinking a lot of water while we're down there, which is really like we were dancing and she had a bottle of water in each hand, and she's like, "Tell me you're on 75 hard without telling me you're on 75 hard." And I'm going to pull it up because one of their most famous songs is called "Born Too Late," and it's a really good song. I'm playing it on my phone. We're gonna get sued. Oh. I'd pay royalties to the Clarks. So if you've heard of the Clarks, you've probably heard this song, and it goes, "Vincent, will you teach me how to paint? Teresa, will I ever be a saint? John, I really think your songs are great. I was born too late." And it goes on, and it's all these famous historical figures by first name only, but based on the reference that they make. So we're singing every word, right? And there were it was really interesting because there were plenty of gray-haired folks there singing along, but then there were also people that I recognized from Young Erie professionals singing along. It's got such broad appeal. I was certainly the worst singer out there. But there's a line in the song where they say, "I'm going to search the sky, kiss the ground, build it up and tear it back down." And Jackie and I both belt out that line. We're going to build it up and tear it back down. And we looked at each other and went, "Oh my God." Because we've heard this song countless times. We've seen it live countless times. But at that moment right there, it resonated with what we have going on in the business. Yeah. Because every single time to get to the next stage, we build it up, but then we got to tear it back down. Yeah. And we got to do this creative destruction where we take what we had and say, all right, some of this we're burning to the ground.
Yep.
And we're going to rebuild it better. And I think that's part of the story of entrepreneurship that a lot of people don't understand. The reason that you're stuck is because you keep doing the same things and you have the same people and you have the same systems. But every now and then you got to tear it back down and rebuild it. Yeah. And we're in the middle of that right now. And because it's what's going to get us to the next stage. And we looked at each other like, oh my God. That never resonated with us. And it made me think of today's show because we're talking about TV and movies and things that we think appeal to entrepreneurs and people with the maverick mindset. And you can go and watch Shark Tank and it's a good business show. It's interesting to see people's ideas. It's interesting to see the negotiations. It's interesting to see how these investors think about things, but it's not reality for most people. Right. You've got to be a certain type of business to seek the type of investment that they provide on that show. So it's that would be an obvious one to cover. We're not going to cover it. Yeah. Right. We're going to cover other movies and TV shows. Some are directly business related. Some are documentary. Some are fiction that you can pull really valuable lessons from. Yes. And that's how you were introducing the show. We've talked about it on this show. And I actually was posting about it on Facebook this morning. like the Tony Hawk documentary. We use the first 5 minutes of that documentary for training on our core values, because we're showing our one of our core values is figure it out. And the first 5 minutes of that documentary is Tony Hawk, who's the best skateboarder to ever live, falling all over his face for like 5 minutes, right? Like it's painful to watch. So you can pull a lesson from that. Now, plenty of people out there can watch that and be entertained and say, oh, wow, this is really cool. And he's such a powerful guy. And this is what makes him the best in the world. But the entrepreneurs look at that and go, that's me. Like, that is what I do every day. I climb up to the top of the half pipe and I fall on my face. Yeah. And then I climb up to the top of the half pipe again. Yeah. So that's what we're going over today. We're going to talk about movies, TV shows that we've pulled valuable lessons from.
Yes.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Where do we want to start?
So I think
do we like organize this by movies and then TV shows, or we're just knocking out the list?
Just knocking out the list.
In no particular order. And we reserve the right to add to this list later. First of all, because I don't know how many we're going to get through. Second of all, there's always new good stuff coming out. But this is like when you're going around going, oh, what's the next series I should watch, or what's the next show I should watch? Pick one of these, even if you've already seen it. Yeah. Go watch it again.
Well, we talked about that with books. Sometimes you reread a book, so it's to get the information and learn it a different way. It's the same thing with movies. Sometimes when you rewatch a movie, you hear it in a different way. Just like that song. How many times did you heard that song from the Clarks?
Exactly.
And then
you got the lesson. You're on fire today. You're ready. What are you drinking?
I have an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
sparkling peach Celsius.
This thing, I had to stop drinking it because there are certain Celsius that just.
There was just an article in the Wall Street Journal that related energy drinks with like eating disorders among younger women. I figured that was fake news. I ignored it. I didn't want to believe that. Right. So I'm going to stick with my energy drinks. All right. Let's go into the first one.
All right.
You're covering this one, but I want to introduce it because I've probably watched this series. It's Netflix, right? Mm-hmm. Probably 3 times, at least 3 times. Plus, I've gone back and watched certain episodes. Plus, I've gone back and watched certain segments of certain episodes. Yeah. Plus, there's like memes. Yeah. Right. So the first one is The Last Dance. Yes. Tell us about it,
Michael Jordan. This is a documentary, and it focuses on 1990s Chicago Bulls, but it mainly tells the story of Michael Jordan. So I thought this was a good one because you had me watch it. I think it was like my first year that I had started working for you. But I remember saying I was going to be like the best executive assistant, like Michael Jordan was the best basketball
player. I remember
player.
You thought that.
Yeah.
How long did you last?
Just moved into a different role.
Right.
So, but here's the thing. I think what a lot of people don't understand is Michael Jordan did not start off as the best basketball player. Right. He had to work harder than everybody else, and when he started playing in high school, he had to practice harder. He had to put more effort into it, and he wasn't always the chosen player. And that was the same when he went into college. He was told, you're going to have to work a lot harder than everybody else. So he developed this work ethic that he knew that in order to be the best, he had to practice different than other people practice. He had to put habits into place that other people didn't have to put.
And then he never lost that.
He never lost that. No.
Yeah. You know what's interesting from that is, I mean, it really is a demonstration of how committed he was to being the best.
Yes.
But it's also really interesting. I always struggle with shows like that or talking to people that are successful because they tell those stories of like on the one side of the screen, you've got him in tears with the cigar out of his mouth and his dad's in the room and he's holding the championship trophy. But then you also have him like expressing a little bit of regret for like his teammates hated him. Yes. Because he pushed them so hard. Yes. But I think if you really, like, I would like to interview Michael Jordan and your agent. If you're out there and you're listening, please come on our show. Because you can express that regret, but you don't really mean it. Because you would never in a million years exchange that dynasty and the winning and the legacy for being liked. You would never do that in a million years. In fact, people day to day that make that exchange and say, oh, I'm going to choose being liked to winning
Yeah.
are losers. Like they are objectively losing. That was really mean. I get it, but I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to win.
Yeah.
Right. Anything else on The Last Dance? It's
well, what it did was it inspired, like you said, he wasn't really liked, but it also inspired other greats to come up behind him, like Kobe Bryant, who then also did that same type of work ethic, right? He was the one that was not going out after the games because he had to be up at 4 a.m. to be practicing. So what he did was inspire others to take on that same type of habits in the way that they practiced or the way that they played because they wanted to also be great. And it wasn't that it didn't start off as something that he wanted to do, but if he wanted to succeed, he had to do it.
It's a good example of setting the standard, which has been one of my mantras recently, set the standard. Of because he was the way he was. If you were on Michael Jordan's team, you were better. Like you were a better player just by virtue of being on his team and seeing him work.
Yes.
Great lessons.
Yeah. And he rarely did he say anything to the other players, right? He didn't have to say to them, well, you're not out here, you're not. He just did it, and then they watched what he did.
The other thing that I really like about that, and this is actually one of the memes, is he was telling some story about how someone slighted him. And he said, and I took that personally. And that's one of the memes, right? So we actually had one made for Pennywise that was like, the IRS wants you to overpay on your taxes. And then Michael Jordan says, and I took that personally. Yeah. But nice. I think I forgot where I was going with that because I got so excited about the memes. Oh, I took that personally. So, here's my best friend, the dog. I need to learn this dog's name. He walks by the studio. Taz? Like Tasmanian Devil? Oh my God, we got to bring biscuits for Taz. We're going to get branded dog biscuits. All right. So I think, one of the things that he did is he found ways to motivate himself. Like he would find a way that someone wronged him and he would use it as motivation. And I've done this in my business. I remember when I moved into my office, I've told this story 1,000 times. Another lawyer that I knew my entire life said I was going the way of the dodo and I was going to die on the vine. And I think about that at least monthly.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's when I'm just getting my butt kicked. I really want to be able to swear on the show. But sometimes it's when I'm really getting my butt kicked and need the motivation. And other times it's when I'm celebrating the win going, yeah, where are you at now, buddy?
Yeah.
Right? So he would do that. My favorite part, though, is they tell this whole story. He goes out and just dominates a game. He picks out an individual player and just crushes the dude because that guy said something. And then they interview the guy and he goes, I didn't say that. And Michael Jordan goes, yeah, you know what? He may not have said that, but he fabricated the story
in order
just to find his dark side and go out and crush it. Yeah. And I'm okay with that. Yes. I'm okay with that.
Yes.
All right. That was good. That was The Last Dance. Great story.
So find your motivation to go out and crush it.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. I've been talking to people a lot about this recently of like, what does push them? And sometimes it's finding that enemy or finding that thing that like it's a dark place. You become my enemy a lot
especially with sales. I think I've said it a few times. I'm like, okay, I use a different word, but I'm like, you just made me mad. So that makes me want to go out.
Are you better because you're on my team?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Heck of a lot better.
All right, next one. So this is a more recent show. Is it on Hulu? I think
it is on Hulu. Yep. Yes.
This was actually this was recommended to me by a mentor of mine. Like a lot of these things, I'm late to the party, but someone recommended this one to me. It's called The Bear.
Yes.
And the premise is this guy that is like a Michelin star chef, which is you learn a lot about that during the show, which is really cool. There was a trip. I think we took you there in Orlando. We went to a Michelin star restaurant. Remember that? Because they had like the sugar dessert web thing, and we all had COVID.
Yeah.
So
God, that happened at the end.
So the premise is the guy's this elite chef, but his brother owns a restaurant in Chicago selling beef, like Chicago beef sandwiches, and the brother killed himself. So Carmi comes back and takes the restaurant over, and this show, season 3 just came out a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
And I'm only 2 episodes in because Jackie and I decided we were going to watch season 3 together, and that's really slowed us down.
Yeah.
So then last night we were doing late workouts for 75 Hard. So she went down on the treadmill, and you can watch Hulu on there. And I was like, all right, you go watch episode 3. I'm going to watch episode 3, and then we'll recap.
Yeah.
Right? I made it like 7 minutes, and I fell asleep.
Oh, no.
But the first 2 seasons are really good because what The Bear does is it shows the unpleasant side of entrepreneurship. It shows the parts that suck. Some of them, not enough. But Mike in our office watched it, and he goes, I get it now. Like I saw you, like Mike's a pretty calm, mild-mannered guy, does a good job, committed to the clients, committed to doing great work, but he doesn't understand my passion.
Right.
Although he does now a little bit more after the show because Carmy walks into this restaurant and has to completely turn it around.
Yes.
They're broke,
you
like said this,
he comes from being this chef in these very successful restaurants, and they're fancy, and he doesn't, the weight of it isn't completely on him.
Yeah.
He comes back to this not so great looking, kind of like it's not doing good. It's not in a great area. It's just barely hanging on. And he has to go from like one extreme to the other. But the weight of it being successful and the weight of everybody else there being able to have their job, and it falls on him. He has to find a way to turn it around with people that are kind of a little resilient to change too.
That's one of the big lessons, is that he's got this team that worked with the brother, that it was always good enough for them, even though they were broke. And he has to come in and fix it.
Change it.
And one of the first things that he does, like it's incremental change at first, but that really puts a lot of people off. He is able to get the core team to work to his standard and to follow his rules and to follow his vision. Some people leave, right?
Yeah.
But the ones who stay, at least this far into season 3, are still with him. I'm trying not to give any spoiler alerts on this, but there's a couple really powerful scenes. It's a little artsy. They get some interesting shots of Chicago and stuff like that. But there's a couple different scenes where like you really start to feel it. And there's one where there's this big crowd outside the restaurant. They do a promotion. I'm trying not to ruin too much of it. They're doing a promotion to bring in some cash. Yeah. And the crowd gets a little rowdy, and Carmy's cousin comes out and fires a gun into the air, right? And like, I've been there. I've wanted to do that. Like, get everybody's attention and calm them down a little bit. And then there's another scene where he's got this understudy chef.
Yes. And
she really wants to improve things. So she puts together this giant binder of suggestions and all the things that they can do. And one of her ideas is to start doing online orders, right?
Yeah.
So she sets it up. They flip the switch on day 1 of online orders, and the printer goes crazy. Like, it is just order after order after, and they can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
And
they did not.
Yeah. Carmy like rips the plug out of the wall on the printer, and everybody's scrambling and everybody's hustling and fire everything that we have. And the guy who makes the desserts is like, hey, can you come taste this dessert? And there's a lot of F-bombs in this show.
Yes.
They set the standard. And Carmy is like, are you effing with me? Like, are you messing with me? He's swearing, but are you messing with me? Like, dude, don't you get it? And I have never felt so seen in a moment of like, we've got to focus on this, and you're over here playing around with your desserts and like experimenting with stuff. Don't you get it?
Yep.
So great show. Really shows the emotional side and the challenges of being that entrepreneur and trying to build something great.
Yeah.
So
if you don't know what it's like, watch The Bear.
So lesson 1 is there's a lot of lessons, but one of them is he assembled the team and got them to follow the vision. But the other one that I really like, and this came in season 3, in episode 2, is he wrote down non-negotiables. And we were just working on something like this in the business, and then we watch this episode where he writes down like, these are the non-negotiables, and everybody's like, yeah, but what are they? They're non-negotiables. And there's some really crazy stuff of like, change the menu every day, but then there's stuff on the other end of the spectrum, like break down the boxes before you put them in the dumpster. And I don't even know how many are on the list, but we just made a list in our firm of 21. They're not non-negotiables for us. They're guiding principles because they're more aspirational, and we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Our core values are what are non-negotiable for us. But I think that's a really great leadership move. I don't know if it's going to blow up in his face later in the season, but I have to believe it was the right move. And in fact, somebody was telling me the other day, because I was telling this story, she said, you'll be happy with how it ends. So that was a good one.
They're already working on season 4 so that it comes out sooner than.
Really?
Well, from what I understand, they filmed season 3 and season 4 back to back so that people did not have to wait as long for the next season to come out.
Good.
So,
Because it was the good news is we got into The Bear late, so we didn't have to wait that long for season 3, but it still felt like an eternity.
Yes.
Okay, Maverick Mindset Radio. Blowing your minds every Wednesday at 9, going live at 9:05. Today we're covering our favorite movies and TV shows. We're about to get into the one that we talk about more than anything else in our lives. Ooh, and I got volunteered to cover this one.
Yes.
This is my favorite.
Yeah.
All right. Good for me.
You could do this.
Thanks.
One. You're welcome.
Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Unbeatable. If you are a leader in any capacity and you have not watched Ted Lasso, you are failing as a leader. I'm just going to put it out there. It is such a great show.
It is.
And there's internet rumors that they just signed on for another season, even though nobody thought that was going to happen. But I think I think Jason Sudeikis got paid, so I think they're doing another season. Fantastic show.
Yep.
Apple TV, a lot of Apple product placement in the movie. But the idea is Jason Sudeikis, who plays Ted Lasso, is an American football coach and wins some, I don't know, like D2 college football championship or something. And then a soccer team in England hires him.
Yes.
And it starts that like there's actually a bad reason for it. It's it was a divorce. The wife took over the team. The husband loved the team, so she wants to destroy it. So she hires Ted.
Somebody that wouldn't know anything about it.
And it's true that he knows nothing about English football.
Correct.
But he's a leader. And he
Right.
gets the team to believe. And they have success.
Yep.
And I don't even want to get too deep into Ted Lasso because you just need to go and watch it.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you how I got into it, though, because this is another video that we use in our core values in our firm. Somebody somewhere posted this scene where he's playing darts in a pub.
Yeah.
And it's against the ex-husband.
Yes.
And I watched that scene, and I'm like, well, now I'm addicted to this show. Because he tells this story. It's about being curious and not judgmental. And they're all very judgmental of Ted because he knows nothing about soccer. He doesn't know the terminology. He doesn't know the game. Doesn't know the strategy.
Goofy percent, like he's always
He's totally goofy.
he's always happy.
Yeah, it's
positive.
a very funny show.
Yes.
It's laugh out loud funny, but also just like so powerful and so meaningful.
Yeah.
So they go on to have varying levels of success and struggles, and there's personality conflicts, and it's just such a great show to watch if you're a leader in any capacity. And it's really funny because did I tell you about Saturday or Sunday's soccer game with Royce's team?
No.
It was the greatest spectacle in sports.
Did you feel like Ted Lasso?
Yes. Yes. I was totally harnessing Ted, and I have the visor. I wasn't wearing the visor. We were out. Royce's team this is 14 and under, right? 13 and 14-year-old boys. Like, whatever opinion you have of 13 and 14-year-old boys, you're right? Yeah. Everything you think about them is accurate. So we get out. This team has dominated all season, which is really funny. Last year, we tied our first game and then lost every game after that. This year, the team dominates.
Nice.
I take zero credit for it. But they're so good that almost every game we've got to pull a player out because we're up by so many goals, right?
Nice.
So we get out to this game, they're down 2-0 in the first quarter. Oh, come on, right? So it's like, all right, Adam.
Yeah.
All right, Adam Lasso. Let's get to it. So we get to the end of the first quarter, and I'm like, boys, you feel it? Like, what? They're so bummed.
Yeah.
They're they don't lose. Right?
Yeah.
They don't even know what it feels like to lose. I said, you feel it? Feel what? The momentum shift.
Momentum shift.
Like you got it. We're out in this big open field, and I gotta huddle. I gotta whisper. It's the momentum shift.
Yeah.
Right. So second quarter 0-0. We're still down 2-0, but we tied him that quarter. Right.
Okay.
All right. So we get to halftime. I got Coach Jackie with me. Right. She knows soccer, which is a good Ted Lasso analogy because there's the assistant coach who understands soccer.
Who understands it.
So we make some I don't even know what it's called. Your formation. We make some formation adjustments. We move some players around, and we ended up, and there's a storm coming in.
Yes.
Right? So we're watching it on the radar.
A big one. Yeah.
So we end up. It's now. I think we ended up. We were down 3-2, and the storm's coming in, and we hear the thunder.
Oh no.
And all the kids on our team are going, no, it's a garbage truck. It's a garbage truck. Don't call the game. Let us keep playing.
They'll call the game
right?
if there's lightning. And
the sky opens up and it starts downpouring.
Yes.
But it's like it is Shawshank Redemption, downpour of rain, and me standing out there. And then we get this kid on the team that goes, "Hey, I always play defense. Can I play midfield?" And like, he's not the strongest player on the team.
Right.
He's a very quiet kid. And I'm like, you know what? Go for it.
Do it.
In the pouring rain, he scores the freaking tying goal, right?
Nice.
The other team is like, they are completely demoralized. The game ended in a tie. But they walked off the field as if they won, and it was such an awesome moment that this is me as a youth soccer coach. The other team was ready to start a fight. Like, they were so upset.
Oh, no.
And you know what? I'll take it, right? If you can spin a game around like that and watch these kids come together to the point where this other team is so upset that they're ready to fight over it, like, you think what you think about youth sports and equal playing time and all this. There's nothing better.
Moments.
There's nothing better than winning or teaching a lesson like that to those kids of like, you're down, but we can do something about this. Yeah. Oh man, it was the greatest moment in sports. It was unbelievable.
And they'll always remember it too.
I really think they will. Yeah. And it is really fun coaching these kids because they are a team.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what's been so valuable. Most of the soccer coaching or games that I've watched, youth soccer, there's always like that one ringer on the team that goes, I'm done. Like, Penny's 6-year-old team, you get the one kid passing the ball, you score 3 goals, you're up 3-0, and then coast for the rest of the game, right? These kids, like, there's some skill. There's varying degrees of skill, but as a team, they communicate. It's just so cool to see. So, I don't take any credit for it, but it's really fun to be on those sidelines watching it. Because I'll tell you, like, when I'm not coaching and I'm on the parent side, I'm pacing up and down the whole time. Like, I can't even get into it. Whew. All right, Ted Lasso. So great show. It's been 3 seasons, I think, of that. Yeah.
And then they stopped.
Yes, but apparently coming out with the 3rd one. But the storylines have been really great. The lessons are really great. There's some great one-liner quotes in there. That's where do you think that's where I believe in you? You think that's where that came from?
Yes,
okay, probably
I
do. Yeah. So Ted hangs
a big
yellow sign in blue letters. It says "Believe." Hangs it in the locker room. Hangs it crooked.
Yes.
And it hangs there all season. And there's some storyline around that. I have one of those hanging in my office. It's handmade. It's custom. But yeah.
Nice.
All right. The next one I need to cover because you still haven't watched this.
I know. I told myself I was going to watch it this week, and I haven't yet. But
how often do you break promises to yourself?
Oh, every day.
Don't do that.
I wish I would have broke the promise of sleeping in a tent. I wouldn't.
You camped out this weekend?
Yeah, in the backyard, and
with your daughter.
Yeah, she wanted to put a tent up and go camping, and so we put it up, and I thought she would lose interest in not wanting to sleep outside, so I didn't do like.
But
the
every
air
night
mattress.
since then, she slept outside.
No, because I have to be with her. I'm like, I'm not doing this again because I don't know if I slept on a rock or a branch,
no, you're
whatever.
Just old.
I know, because she was like, I slept great. I'm like, I'm sure you did. I'm like,
all right. So next one. This is a movie, classic movie. I think it was a play. It was Broadway, probably. Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yes.
And I love this movie. Again, great story, great acting. Yeah. Alec Baldwin, a bunch of famous actors. Yeah. And
older movie,
like
right? This came out a long time ago.
I'm picturing it's got to be in black and white, right? Is it black and white?
No, but it's like
it's old. It's one of those movies.
It's like the next stage up from black and white, whatever that was.
Yeah. Sepia tone. Yeah, it's and it's old enough that like the audio is like on the dialogue is not perfect, right? You got to put on the closed captions, but it's a story of sales. Mm-hmm. And we actually put in our job ads for salespeople, we say like, we're not Glengarry Glen Ross, we're not Boiler Room, but it's still important for you to understand the reference. Yeah. First of all, it's important for you to understand the references because that makes you super cool. But second of all, like there is good stuff in there that you can learn from.
Right.
So it's I don't know, it's just a really fun story about blaming the leads when the salespeople aren't converting, but then you get the Alec Baldwin comes in and gives this a couple of really great 1992.
Wow, really? Oh.
And you still haven't seen it?
No, but I was just thinking that.
I'm glad we have Joel here as the fact checker. This is like when you watch SportsCenter or ESPN or College Game Day, and there's the guy off to the side who like actually knows what he's talking about. It's super helpful to have that guy.
No, do you realize though we're like, oh, it's black and white? No, it was just, and that was 1992. Like we were 10.
But it could have been black and white. It's yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I probably
like,
watched it on a black and white TV. Like it was produced in color.
What were those TVs that before they had the flat, just your
like a giant tube TV.
Yeah, but no, even when they came in the wood, remember? Like the outside.
I had my mom, I'll never forget, my sophomore year of college, my mom found one at like a garage sale and delivered it to me in Michigan. I think Jackie actually came along for that ride. And I was suddenly the coolest kid in the dorm because I had the massive TV and played what was it, GameCube, Super Smash Brothers, which I will still dominate anybody at Super Smash Brothers, so I'll put that challenge out there. Ooh. But anyway, it's a really great story, some really funny references, really good references, and I don't know, coffee is for closers, ABC, always be closing. I don't want to tell you too much more about it. It's just a great film to watch, especially if you're in sales, but you wouldn't know that because you haven't seen it, even though I've been talking about it for 3 years. But you can cover our next one.
I will. Boiler Room, which pays, is that homage to Glengarry Glen Ross.
I think there's some inspiration there for sure.
It actually, well, when I was looking up the back, it was
inspired.
Yes. Thanks for the word.
That was you. I don't know if that was sign language, but I totally got what you were trying to say.
It's because I talk with my hands so much. You've realized I've developed my
This
own.
is why in person and Zoom is better than a phone call or a text message or an email. That's another one of our guiding principles.
Yes. So this one is also about sales, but sales in a corrupt business, right? They're selling stock that is not. It's fraudulent. It's not real. So yeah. So they are built. The fake firm is built with just the focus of money only. So they promise this overnight success to these people that are coming to work from them. And the one actor that's in it, he's trying to prove kind of his worth to his father. So this seems like that quick fix to do that.
Giovanni Ribisi.
Is that his name?
Yeah, this came out in 2000. It was like he was in his prime in the 2000s.
All right. But yeah, so it's kind of he's trying to succeed under someone else's expectations. And then the other part of this is that, you were talking about that in order to have a sustainable business, it has to be based on ethics and morality, and you have to do well by your client, which is the complete opposite of what
anybody can have short-term success taking advantage of people.
Yes.
But long-term sustainable success has to be based on doing the right thing.
Yeah. So when you are an entrepreneur putting together a business, you have to think about that long-term success and the product that you're selling. And do you believe in it? Is it real? Is it a service to people? Can it help them? Because you can have that fast track success.
This is one of Ben Affleck's best performances.
Yes.
So when I was in law school, I worked for Dial America, selling magazines over the phone. Oh. And I would watch Boiler Room to get pumped up, right? And so I'm in this giant.
It's that cold calling.
Yeah, and you got the headset on, and we were in this giant room with 50 people just pounding the phones all day. And I remember I would watch Boiler Room, and like I was the one guy in this giant call center room. I'm standing up at my desk, like I'm jumping up and down, but my name was also at the top of the leaderboard for sales. Oh. So yeah, Boiler Room's a great film. Really, I mean, it kind of reminds me of Wolf of Wall Street with some of the phone sales tactics.
Yes.
But really, it's a really fun story and some great scenes with Ben Affleck, and he says, again, a lot of swearing in that one, but. Anybody who says money is the root of all evil doesn't have any, or money doesn't buy happiness. Look at the smile on my face, ear to ear, baby. I love it. I love it. It's so good. Okay. I got the next one. Yeah. You know what? I didn't prepare enough for this one, but it's another great movie. I've only watched it once, and it's on my list to go back and rewatch.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh my gosh. What do you do all day? And I think this is the point, because we actually talked about this. Was it? I don't even remember which was it. I might have been our last show where I said, shut off Mariah Carey and like start listening to the sales training stuff that I get you.
What you watch, listen to.
So this is a good example of like when you need that sort of just like mindless zone out and watch something, but at least watch something that you can learn something from.
Yes.
So this is The Founder, which is the story of Ray Kroc and McDonald's. And who's that? Why am I drawing a blank on who stars in it? He's famous.
Well, I don't know because I haven't seen it. Michael Keaton? Really?
Yeah, Michael Keaton.
Batman. You're on fire today, Joel.
We should
trivia.
We should get Joel involved in our shows more often. But great story of McDonald's and how they got started and how Ray sort of took over for the McDonald's brothers and how McDonald's really is a real estate business. You know, they own the real estate. They happen to operate restaurants on them, but their location is what makes them competitive. It's really fun thinking about this one because as I look across the street at the climbing gym in that brand new building, there used to be a McDonald's there.
I didn't know that.
Have you ever in your life seen a McDonald's close? No, because they get the location right, and then they got their systems and all the other really great stuff. But that is actually a McDonald's that closed.
I did not know that.
And I'm going to give a shout out to Matt Wachter because he made that happen. It was a pretty strategic negotiation with him and McDonald's corporate. But yeah, I mean it's a really fun story because it's one of those, like, everybody knows McDonald's. I feel like a 2-year-old kid in the car seat in the back of the car can look at that sign and know that it means French fries.
Yeah.
But it's a really good story of the background. It shows some of the struggles and challenges and problems, and I think in some regards the value of having lawyers involved in transactions. So the founder, highly recommended. Story of McDonald's and Ray Kroc. Ooh, you get the next one.
Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
Yeah. So it was funny. I had a goal to hit. Remember that? And so he's remember the scene in the movie? He's on the phone. He's like, "Show me the money."
Everybody knows that scene.
Yeah. Well, maybe there's somebody that hasn't seen it.
That's true. Cool people know that.
Yeah. So we printed that meme out, and then I mimicked it so that I could look at that every day so I could hit my goal, which I did. So thank you, Jerry Maguire. But this came about, remember, though, like he puts together a mission statement. It's not a memo. It's a mission statement. We have a mission statement. So he puts together
it's almost a manifesto.
Yeah. So he puts together this manifesto, and he's going to start his own company. And
he's a sports agent.
He's a sports agent, and it's all about getting the best client, right? The one that's going to bring in the most money, but there's never a relationship formed.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could just be your thought. They don't think anything of you. So he was going to put into his new business, he was going to care about the client. He was going to focus more on that relationship, and he was going to become successful and have this agency that was built around how you care about your customer. And nobody wanted to follow him. He lost all the clients that he had, and except for one. And so it was one of those, he had his, I don't even think it was a secretary follow him. So it was just she and him and this one client. And there were struggles, and it didn't happen the way they expected it to. They weren't successful. The money wasn't coming in. And it was almost that point of like giving up, right? Because it just wasn't happening.
Yeah, he went from the top of his game at like the biggest, most successful agency.
Yeah, like he became a joke, and they weren't bringing any money. But there's always going to be, if you can just be persistent and determined, there's always that turnaround, and it takes that one good opportunity to just set you on the pace that you want to go. And he stayed true to this one client and that relationship, and there was this great moment in the movie, and then people saw it and they were like, hey, like, look at this relationship, look at what they have done, and success came from there. So it was kind of, you have to build that relationship with the right clients, the right customer, not have the fear to stop when things aren't going your way, and keep determined toward that opportunity.
I got two other ones I pulled from that movie.
What?
Related to that, but there's the big scene where he walks out of the agency with like his box of stuff.
Yes.
And he's screaming
and he takes the goldfish.
Yeah. And he says, I just want to know who's coming with me.
Yes.
Who's coming with me? And nobody responds.
Nobody.
And then Renee Zellweger jumps in, raises her hand somewhat hesitantly. But that, like, as a leader, as a visionary,
she read his mission statement, and she believed in it.
But that's it. As a visionary, as an entrepreneur, as someone with a mission and an axe to grind and a battle to engage in and a war to win, you need to be ready to declare what you're going to do and have no one follow you.
Yeah.
You need to be ready to plant your flag in the ground and have one person somewhat slowly, hesitantly raise their hand to maybe go along on that journey with you.
Yep.
Because you build up all this momentum. And I do this myself. I work myself into a lather. Like I am ready to run through a wall. And then nobody's along with me.
No.
Except Jackie. But for most people, they don't even have that level of support.
Yeah.
So that's one. The other thing that I think about is if you're starting a business, growing a business, launching a new business, you need that core group. You need that nucleus. You need those raving fans. And you're better off starting with 5 clients, customers, patients who absolutely love you and would fight for you.
Maybe it's just that one.
It could be. He started with 1.
He did.
5 would be better. But those that nucleus of those 5 people is so much better than 100 clients who are kind of indifferent and who don't really care and don't see the vision or the mission or don't want to fight the fight that you are fighting. Yeah. How many times did I say fight in that sentence? That was a lot.
Fight the fight that you were fighting.
Yeah, just 3. All right. That was good.
All right. Devil Wears Prada. This is a good one too. I remember watching. I love this movie. What's her name is in it? Meryl Streep. Mm-hmm. So she is this really hardcore.
She's the Michael Jordan of the fashion magazine industry.
Yes. So this movie is about, this girl, she goes in and works for this woman and everybody kind of steps on each other's toes to get to the top. There's it's about morality in the choices that you're going to make and respect and that how it can affect your personal life. And it's sometimes hard. So if you're that owner, that CEO, the pressure that the ones that are under you are going through. I'm talking with my hands again. Yes, nobody understands that I'm pausing. So it's that pressure and understanding that there's this whole other world that's going on of where they're trying to succeed and follow and do what you want to do. And this woman in this movie is under this morality issue of who she's working for, but also wanting to rise to the top and be successful. And she has to make choices on what is the best.
Yeah, so it's Meryl Streep, who's the CEO of the magazine, and then it's Anne Hathaway. Who she hires as her new assistant.
Yes.
Which, much like Meryl Streep, I've been through, 4 or 5 assistants in the last 12 months.
It's hard. It's challenging.
But we literally refer to the Devil Wears Prada in the job posting because I let people know, hey, sometimes I'm Miranda, and you got to be ready for that. Other times I'm Bruce Wayne and Batman. But so yeah, I think I actually pulled up. I was watching that on YouTube as I wrote the assistant job post the last time that I reworked it because it really is a good example of as the leader. So first of all, what's really interesting is people would kill to work for this magazine. It would kill to work for Meryl Streep's character. And then Anne Hathaway comes in with no experience and no exposure and no knowledge and no interest in
very
in what
innocent,
they're doing. So there's some funny scenes of critiquing her wardrobe and things like that. But Meryl Streep does not take the time to sit and tell them exactly how to do their job. No. They have to go figure it out. And I think if you're going to build anything, you have to have people around you that are willing to do that. If you're going to build anything successful, you can't tell people how to do every step of their job. They need to understand where you're going and what your vision is, and they need to want to support that. There has to be a desire because it's going to be really difficult, and then they got to go and do it. Where Meryl Streep gets it wrong in the movie, or Miranda gets it wrong, the character, is she's really unforgiving.
Yes.
I think that could be toned down a little bit. But on the other hand, at times, it's okay for people to be afraid of you for not meeting your expectations. Because the alternative is you make it look like you're willing to lower your expectations. And depending on the circumstances, I'm not willing to lower my standards or my expectations on things. So yeah, Devil Wears Prada. That was
and that's what that there's the finding that balance of, like I said, she got it wrong because yes, she had that. I'm not willing to just teach you everything, and you got to figure it out on your own, and you can become successful like that. But there were times and moments that had she, guided and helped and had that empathy that she would have. Anne Hathaway was a very good assistant and would have been very loyal and would have helped.
The movie wouldn't have been as good though.
No, but it's a movie. But so what the lesson is they're trying to teach is, though, you have to find that balance of, in order to keep the great employees, you also have to be willing to teach and guide and educate.
It has 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I had to look up when this one came out because I'm thinking about my perspective when I first saw it. It was 2006. So I don't know, I guess my first year of law school. So at that point, Jackie and I would have been engaged, not married, and she had her job at KPMG, so she had a real job. I was still in law school, and I think we went and watched it because it's like, oh, like the fashion piece of it was interesting, and it still is, especially to Jackie. So there's some fun stories, and there's some like celebrity cameos in there. But now, again, I watched it sometime in the last 12 months when I was updating the assistant job ad, and like, again, totally different lessons, totally different things that I pull from it now. Like there's the clips that get shared on social media, there's the memes and things like that. But really the what you can pull and learn from the story really has changed for me in the last 18 years. So good one. All right. I want to skip the next one because I need to hear, there's one on the list that I haven't seen and I got to hear about this. I got to hear about Baby Boom.
Yes. I absolutely love this
Joel's
movie.
giving it a thumbs up.
You've seen it. Okay.
Hand him a mic.
I grew up watching this movie.
1987.
Diane Keaton is in this movie. It's such a great movie. And it really started that whole, so at that time there weren't a lot of women entrepreneurs. There weren't a lot of women that were taking.
There still aren't a lot of women entrepreneurs.
No. So watch Baby Boom. There were there were not a lot of women even in the corporate world that had the high positions, but we were moving.
But if they did, they had shoulder pads in their suits like you wouldn't believe.
Correct. They were moving into that. We were moving into that era where they were able to climb that corporate ladder. However, there was still a lot of, the bias that women can't be everything. So this movie hones in on that. And I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but basically she is in this corporate business. She is looking to make partner, and she has literally no family, no personal life. She is dedicated to being a partner in this firm, and unexpectedly, she inherits a baby, and so. So she is like, I don't know what to do with this.
There's a little bit of artistic license in there.
Yeah. But
or maybe her interpretation isn't exactly.
Long story short, she has a baby. She doesn't have it. Her
sister died or something?
No, it was like a cousin or somebody. And so this baby, and she.
There were a lot of interesting baby movies. Remember Two Men and a Baby?
Yes. And again.
What was up with babies in the 80s?
I don't. Well, because I think I think there was a lot of that transition in family and working.
I guess that would have been, what's interesting? That would have been baby boomers having kids, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, great marketing.
Baby
what studio
boom.
Put this out?
So
brilliant. MGM, great job.
Yeah. So she, long story short, she cannot make having this personal life with this family and climbing that corporate ladder. And at one scene, her boss says to her, like, you can't have both. You can be like me, but I have missed all the Christmases. I don't know my grandkids' names. But he's saying to her, you're not ready for that. So basically, she can either not have this child, or she can climb this corporate ladder and go back to the life that she was living. And she decides she's going to move to Vermont and start over. And she does. And I remember watching the movie. I wanted the Jeep that she was driving. I wanted to move to Vermont, and I wanted to live in this house that she was living in. But she gets there and she starts her own business. Basically, she starts her own business and becomes hugely successful on her terms. And it was really inspiring because she could have just quit and not move forward and not decided to
she
have
could have
that
picked one or the other,
dedication.
but instead she ended.
Yeah. And she became her own boss.
All right, so the other ones we didn't get to today because we're out of time. We were going to talk about Office Space, which is I actually hate the movie Office Space because it brings me down. We were going to talk about It's a Wonderful Life, and then I think another good one is The Pursuit of Happiness.
That was really good
with Will Smith. That's a powerful story. Yeah. I think it's a true story too, isn't it? Yeah, really good story there. So yeah, those are our recommended. That's our recommended viewing list. Movies and TV shows. Your only action item is to go pick one, Ashley. Glengarry Glen Ross. Great show today. We'll be back next week. let us know what your favorites are too.
Yeah.
And we'll check in next week. All right. I believe in you.